Yeah, so yesterday, that would have been last week of October 2023, I was interviewing for an internship at a place called, well, I won't name the place because that seems inopportune at this moment, but it's a science communications role for an astronomy organization. So it'd be right up my alley. The problem is they only paid minimum wage. So it doesn't justify moving basically across the country, taking an $8 or $9 pay cut and trying to pay rent and for class and everything else, making only like 13.85. I was kind of hurt at first because like when I called my dad and talked to him about it, he like almost bit my head off. He's like, "No, you're not doing that." And I was like, "Well, hold on a second. I just started thinking about it." He's like, "No, you're not doing it." But the more I thought about it, the more I realized he was right. A role like that, an internship for like communications in some, organization where it's paying minimum wage, it's meant for an undergrad who's
Hmm.
probably, sort of looking for adventure and not really just looking for like stability. And I need stability. As much as I
Yeah.
would love to have adventure, I need stability more.
Hmm.
Um, and that leads us to the flip side of this, which is that today at about maybe noon, I got an email from Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, about interviewing for a pathways position.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So yeah, Friday I interviewed for this pathways position, which again, for those of our listeners who don't know how the pathways program works at NASA or in the U.S. government in general, it's kind of like a pathway to employment. It is what it sounds like. You work, you have to be able to work, you have to be available to work a minimum of 640 hours, which is like 16 full-time weeks while you're in school. And when you're done, it's not, obviously it's not conditional or whatever. It's not like saying, hey, this is a guarantee of employment, but it's basically the next best thing. It's basically saying, hey, once you're done with this, we're going to try and find a role for you because you've put in the time to show that you fit within this organization somewhere. So it's a step above what they call the OSTEM internships, which is the Office of STEM Engagement, which is what I'm in right now.
That's pretty cool. This is probably what, like a GS9 slot?
Yeah, I will be interviewing for the, I think it said, because I got the email a week or two ago saying that I was tentatively eligible, that rather that I'd been referred to all of these different centers at the GS9. So this would be a GS9 role.
I got friends down in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I got some veteran connections.
Yeah.
I know a couple cops down that way. Houston's a giant concrete jungle. It's like it that place is Mega City One. That place is intense. I only went there
I've
once.
heard.
And I'm like, I'm good. This place is crazy. I'm scared.
See, that's not, when I told my dad actually about it. It was like a totally different role. This may have even been last year that I interviewed for this. There was a contractor role at NASA that I interviewed, that I think I interviewed for. Like I said, at NASA Johnson in Houston.
So you got your Pathways internship interview.
Mm-hmm.
What else is going on with you, sir?
Well, I'm trying to start dating this girl.
Yeah.
Maybe even well, I mean, it's interesting because I don't want to move things too fast. Of course, by the time this episode comes out, I will have actually hung out with her maybe even a couple of times. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But at the same time, I don't want to like discount the idea that she maybe is kind of interested because she like responds to all of my messages. Like she responds to like every other thing I say with like a heart. She responds to like every third thing I say with a laugh, with a laughing face or something. Because like we're like hitting it off. It's just I don't know if it's that she's just very outgoing and gregarious, or if it's like, oh, she's trying to like be outgoing in a particular way. If you get what I'm saying.
Have you taken my wife's advice yet?
Asked her if she wanted to like go out, like specifically if she wanted to go on a date.
Yeah. Or are you gonna wait till
Not
you meet up
yet.
in person again?
I'm gonna wait to meet up in person, I think, because I know that she said that when it comes to the concert that we're going to, which is in a week from Friday, so a little over a week, which is coming up quick. She's not going to be able to go to dinner then, just because she has to come straight from work. So she's
Got it.
pretty much going to be hopping right on the metro and going from there to the place. I suppose I could ask her what she's doing afterward because it's a Friday. But I don't want to
No,
like,
because if it comes up organically,
yeah, I think
like
that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is if something like that were to come up organically, I'd say, hey, you want to maybe hang out some after this or whatever. But I'm
yeah,
not going to put pressure on her because that kind of defeats the purpose of letting it come up organically. At the same time, the alternate time we might have for going to the Arctic House talk, which is I think like November 8th or something like that. So probably a little over. So I think it's like 2 weeks from today. I asked her like if I should bring earplugs to the concert. She said, "Yeah, it could get kind of loud." Because she was talking about a concert she went to last night, and she said there were some drunk girls who were just like blabbing the whole time. And she was like, "Well, why do you go to a concert if you want to talk? Let's go to a bar." And I was like, and now that I look back at it, I'm like, is she trying to like give me like a hint or something, or is that just like conversation?
after the concert, just be like, hey, let's go to a bar. You don't have to drink alcohol, but you can get like a near beer or whatever, or coffee.
Yeah.
You don't need coffee either. Never mind. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's
we'll also
something
get
there
nice
for you.
mocktails.
There's mocktails.
There's places to get nice mocktails. I think I told you when I went to Chicago for the AGU meeting last December, I got a really cool like mocktail pina colada that was like delicious. It was fucking to die for.
Mocktails are really good. Yeah, take her out for mocktails and be like, hey, I kind of like you in a special boyfriend kind of way. What do you think? Do you want to be my special girlfriend kind of way, kind of? And she says no and stabs you with a spoon. That's your answer. Or she says yes and stabs you with the spoon. It's kind of your call on which way you want to go with that because you just got stabbed, but you also might get a girlfriend out of it. So, you
Yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah, that's not a bad idea.
relationships are work, Nick. You got to put the effort in. Sometimes we just get stabbed. Like,
Yeah, because I mean, I'm really enjoying like talking to this girl. I'd like to like get to know her more. That's the thing, is
or
because
take it at your own pace.
yeah, I know that's the thing is I don't want to like push her away by being I don't know if forward is the right word for it at this point, but like I also want to like make clear that I'm not just trying to like fiddle around, because
Yeah.
you know it's.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, hell, let's take a step back. What were we just talking about? I could be going to Houston by as early as January or February or whatever. So I need to make clear, hey, I like you. If we want to date, we need to be intentional about this. I want to be intentional about it, but I also don't want to like pressure her. So there's like there has to be a happy medium somewhere.
well, if you might be going to Houston in January, maybe your first instinct is correct because January is not that long away.
No.
I mean, as of recording, it's 2.5 months. You
Mm-hmm.
might be in January right after the holidays. And
Depending on when they start.
yeah, and fucking, I mean, dude, maybe she's just like a cool person you hang out with and it's a little flirty. And and then maybe like you hang out and make out a little bit like behind the tire of a car or something. I don't know. Maybe not that. That doesn't make any sense. Why would
That's
you
you
be
living out your stories again.
why would you be behind a tire?
Why is it telling us remaining meeting time?
Oh yeah, I stopped paying for Zoom. Anyway, we'll
Uh,
we'll wrap up this episode and in 10 minutes. And so our cool fun hangout episode because first of all, I got some updates of my own where
yeah,
I have been taking an acting class,
yeah.
Armed Services Arts Partnership,
Mhm.
and I auditioned for a play. It is a Christmas Carol parody musical, and I got cast. And audition or rehearsals start the 6th of November, and I'm not sure what my part is yet.
That's important to know.
Yep.
If you're gonna be in a play, it's kind of good to know what you're gonna play in the play.
Well, they don't know what my part is either. So,
Oh, well,
but
tell them to figure it out.
yeah, and I'm currently trying to figure out how to get ASAP classes at my place of employment, which shall not be named on this podcast. And
it's redacted.
It's redacted, yes. But I've been speaking to my boss and my real job, and I'm like, hey man, there's this thing, and then these people, they can send teachers and do like 1-day classes and stuff. And he's like, oh, well, we'll do it for like, because they do quarterly offsites where I work.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it's like a corporate-esque job. It's modeled the same way. And they do quarterly offsites where they're team building exercises. I'm like, oh, we'll have like an acting class for a day as a team building exercise. That's fucking brilliant. And I love the Armed Services Arts Partnership. And I just want to help it grow and fucking explode. So there's that. And all of that is to say, we are going on hiatus.
Yeah.
This episode drops what, the 13th of November? Is that right?
I think that's what you said a minute ago.
Yeah. And
we will be away for how long?
Till the first of the new year, 6 weeks.
Yep. 6 weeks. We're going to be investing that time into making the experience better.
Mm-hmm. And we there will be episodes every Monday for those 6 weeks. The first one, it's a little side project I'm working on. I call it Book Flub, where I review pop culture stuff. The first one's going to be me reviewing the first 3 books and the auteur William Shatner's Star Trek Kirk fanfic fiction series called the Shatnerverse. And then after that, I took old episodes that I recorded, re-edited them, edited them better, added some cool visuals to it, and they're going to play those through December all the way to the 1st. And then we get to the 1st, and then the show changes again. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be monthly.
Yep.
Maybe
mainline episodes.
What's that?
At least the mainline episodes.
The mainline episodes probably going to be monthly. And it's going to be closer to a YouTube series, right? Than an actual weekly radio show. And the reasoning behind this is that there are some episodes, like today, where it's just 2 pals shooting shit or whatever. Other episodes that are well thought out, well structured, well edited. Everything's working. Guess which episodes have better hits? The ones that have lots of effort and like thought put into them. And so, given our schedules, given how much production I want to put into each episode, yeah, I decided to just pull it back to monthly, probably for 2024. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
And
it's the new format. See if it works.
Yeah. There's a part of it's like, well, maybe you could do like twice a month, but then I'm like, no, because we're gonna want to do a book. I'd love to do Petrichor.
Yeah. And of course, I keep producing new stuff. I don't know if you saw the thing I sent you tonight.
I didn't read all of it. What was that from?
That is just something that, that literally came from a dream I had. I had this really weird, vivid dream, probably after I ate some cheese or something late at night. And I had this dream that I was like a retired superhero, like working an office job at like age 50 and like having flashbacks to when I was like a teenage, world saver or whatever. And that basically turned into that story it started off as a short story. And I said, no, I'm not going to make this a 20-page short story. It's going to be a 10-page chapter 1 of possibly a standalone book. And it's kind of like an alternate timeline of the Spacer Saga.
Because I noticed the Zaydari were in there. I'm like, oh, that name's familiar.
I kind of did what Kurt Vonnegut used to do, which is throw like similar elements into different stories. Like, the Tralfamadorians were in several of Kurt Vonnegut's stories, even though they weren't like directly related.
And you know what would be good going to monthly is we'd have more time for the Spacer Saga blog. Yeah. Which, funnily enough, we'll start producing. We've got all of the Erebus effect
Mhm.
locked and ready for the Spacer Saga blog at dividedbyzerobooks.com.
Yep.
And I love to do more short stories there. I love to do free short stories there. Yeah, monthly makes sense because we need to keep a platform like this. We start doing those videos for frequency post. But yeah, I'm excited for next year.
Me too.
And on that note, for the Blanket Fortress of Solitude, I am Derwin.
And I am Nick.
And we will see you New Year's Day, Monday morning at 0700. It was exactly 1 month after I got to Iraq. Passed the PT test today. Not by a whole lot. Always a proud moment with every milestone I have. The things I've seen, the hijinks that ensue.